Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Today in this video we are going to look back at the Top Gun cast then and now and see what happened to them after 40 years. Let's start with the man who became synonymous with Maverick. Tom Cruise was born in Syracuse, New York. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Cruise was just 24 years old. He played Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell, the talented but reckless Navy pilot whose ambition and instinctive flying skills make him one of the best students at Top Gun. Maverick isn't simply a confident fighter pilot. He's also carrying the pressure of living up to his father, Duke Mitchell, a pilot whose mysterious disappearance has haunted him. That makes Maverick's rivalry with Iceman even more intense, because he isn't just competing for the Top Gun trophy. He's trying to prove himself. The role transformed Cruise into a global superstar. His chemistry with Kelly McGillis, his rivalry with Val Kilmer, and his partnership with Anthony Edwards Goose helped make Top Gun one of the defining movies of the 1980s. And Cruise's career only became bigger from there. He went on to star in Rain Man, Born on the 4th of July, A Few Good Men, Jerry Maguire, Minority Report, The Last Samurai, and The Mission. Impossible franchise. His personal life has also remained heavily covered by the media. Cruise has been married 3 times, to Mimi Rogers, Nicole Kidman, and Katie Holmes, and has 3 children. As of 2026, Tom Cruise is 64 years old and remains one of Hollywood's biggest stars. His estimated net worth is around $600 million. 40 years after Top Gun, the actor who first took off as Maverick is still flying, and remarkably, he's still performing many of his own action stunts. Kelly McGillis was born on July 9, 1957, in Newport Beach, California. When Top Gun was released in 1986, she was 28 years old. She played Charlotte Charlie Blackwood, a civilian instructor at the Top Gun school and an expert in naval aviation who becomes Maverick's love interest. Charlie isn't simply Maverick's girlfriend. She's intelligent, confident, and knowledgeable about the pilots she's teaching. Her relationship with Maverick adds an emotional side to a movie dominated by competition and fighter jets. Before Top Gun, McGillis had already impressed audiences with her role opposite Harrison Ford in Witness, which earned her Golden Globe and BAFTA nominations. After Top Gun, she appeared in films including The House on Carroll Street and The Accused. But, unlike Tom Cruise, McGillis eventually stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight. She moved to Florida, opened a restaurant with her then-husband, and later worked at a rehabilitation center. She also continued acting occasionally and taught acting. In her personal life, McGillis married Boyd Black in 1979, but they divorced in 1981. She later married Fred Tillman in 1989, and they had 2 daughters before divorcing in 2002. In 2009, McGillis publicly came out as a lesbian and later entered a civil union with Melanie Lice. As of 2026, Kelly McGillis is 69 years old. Her net worth is commonly estimated at around $4 million. Interestingly, McGillis did not return for Top Gun: Maverick. By then, her priorities had changed, and she had largely chosen a quieter life away from Hollywood's spotlight. 40 years later, Kelly McGillis may no longer be a regular Hollywood presence, but as Charlie Blackwood, she remains an unforgettable part of the original Top Gun story. Val Kilmer was born on December 31, 1959, in Los Angeles, California. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Kilmer was 26 years old. He played Lieutenant Tom Iceman Kazansky, Maverick's biggest rival at the Top Gun training program. Iceman is almost the complete opposite of Maverick. He's disciplined, controlled, confident, and believes a fighter pilot should never take unnecessary risks. Their rivalry becomes one of the movie's most memorable storylines, especially as both compete to become the best pilot in their class. Kilmer was already gaining attention before Top Gun, but the role helped establish him as a major Hollywood star. He later became famous for playing Jim Morrison in The Doors, Doc Holliday in Tombstone, and Bruce Wayne, Batman in Batman Forever. His personal life included a marriage to actress Joanne Whaley, whom he married in 1988. They had 2 children, Mercedes and Jack, before divorcing in 1996. Later in life, Kilmer faced a serious battle with throat cancer, which dramatically affected his ability to speak. Despite that, he continued working and eventually returned to the role of Iceman in Top Gun: Maverick in 2022. Sadly, Val Kilmer died on April 1, 2025, at the age of 65 from pneumonia. His estimated net worth at the time of his death was around $10 million. For Top Gun fans, Iceman wasn't just Maverick's rival. Val Kilmer turned him into one of the most iconic characters in aviation movie history. Anthony Edwards was born on July 19, 1962, in Santa Barbara, California. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Edwards was 23 years old. He played Lieutenant Nick Goose Bradshaw, Maverick's radar intercept officer and closest friend. Goose is the emotional heart of Maverick's story. While Maverick is aggressive and obsessed with becoming the best pilot, Goose is more relaxed, funny, and family-oriented. Their friendship makes the movie's most tragic moment hit even harder. During the famous training accident, Maverick and Goose are forced to eject from their damaged jet. Maverick survives, but Goose hits the canopy and dies. His death completely changes Maverick, leaving him struggling with guilt and questioning whether he can continue flying. After Top Gun, Anthony Edwards' career took a major turn. In 1994, he became Dr. Mark Green on the television series ER. The role made him a television superstar and earned him a Golden Globe, along with multiple Screen Actors Guild Awards and Emmy nominations. In his personal life, Edwards was married to Janine Lobel from 1994 to 2015, and they have 4 children. In late 2021, he married actress Mare Winningham. As of 2026, Anthony Edwards is 64 years old and remains active as an actor, director, and producer. His net worth is estimated at around $40 million. 40 years later, Anthony Edwards is still remembered as Goose, the loyal friend whose death became the defining moment of Maverick's journey. Meg Ryan, whose real name is Margaret Mary Emily Ann Hyra, was born on November 19, 1961, in Fairfield, Connecticut. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Ryan was 24 years old. She played Carol Bradshaw, the wife of Goose and the mother of their young son. Carol doesn't have a huge role, but she becomes extremely important after Goose's death. Her emotional reaction to losing her husband shows the devastating personal cost behind Maverick's dangerous world of fighter jets. Her scenes also make Goose feel like more than just Maverick's best friend. He was a husband and a father, with a family waiting for him at home. At the time, Ryan was still a rising actress. Top Gun helped introduce her to a much larger audience, but her biggest breakthrough came only a few years later, with When Harry Met Sally in 1989. That movie transformed Ryan into one of Hollywood's biggest romantic comedy stars. She followed it with Sleepless in Seattle, French Kiss, You've Got Mail, and City of Angels. For much of the 1990s, she was known as one of America's biggest female movie stars. In her personal life, Ryan married actor Dennis Quaid in 1991. They had a son, Jack Quaid, who later became an actor himself. They divorced in 2001. Ryan later adopted a daughter from China named Daisy True. As of 2026, Meg Ryan is 64 years old. Her estimated net worth is around $85 million, although this is a third-party estimate rather than an official financial figure. 40 years later, Carol Bradshaw may have been a small part of Top Gun, but Meg Ryan would go on to become one of the defining stars of 1990s Hollywood. Tom Skerritt, whose real name is Thomas Roy Skerritt, was born on August 5, 1933, in Detroit, Michigan. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Skerritt was 53 years old. He played Commander Mike Viper Metcalf, the experienced instructor and commanding officer at the Top Gun flight school. Viper is one of the few people who can see through Maverick's reckless attitude. He knows that Maverick has incredible natural ability, but also understands that becoming a great pilot requires discipline and maturity. Later, Viper reveals that he knew Maverick's father and shares the truth about his father's final vision, giving Maverick a better understanding of the man he had spent years trying to live up to. Skerritt was already a veteran actor when he joined Top Gun. He had appeared in MASH and Alien, where he played Captain Dallas. After Top Gun, he continued his successful career with films such as Steel Magnolias, A River Runs Through It, and Contact. He also became a television star as Sheriff Jimmy Brock in Picket Fences, a role that earned him a Primetime Emmy Award. In his personal life, Skerritt has been married 3 times and has 5 children. He married his current wife, Julie Tokashiki, in 1998, and they have a daughter together. As of 2026, Tom Skerritt is 92 years old and remains active in the entertainment industry. His estimated net worth is around $12 million. 40 years later, Viper remains one of Top Gun's most respected characters, and Tom Skerritt is still here to tell the story. Michael Ironside, whose real name is Frederick Reginald Ironside, was born on February 12, 1950, in Toronto, Canada. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Ironside was 36 years old. He played Lieutenant Commander Rick Jester Heatherly, one of the instructors at the elite Top Gun flight school. Jester is one of the instructors who challenges Maverick and the other young pilots during their training. He's calm, experienced, and intimidating, making it clear that raw talent isn't enough to survive in a real dogfight. For Ironside, Top Gun became one of several roles that established him as Hollywood's go-to actor for tough military figures and intimidating authority characters. His breakthrough had actually come a few years earlier in Scanners, and after Top Gun, he became even more recognizable as Richter in Total Recall, and later as Rashchak in Starship Troopers. He also built an extensive career in television and voice acting, including providing the original voice of Sam Fisher in the Splinter Cell video game series. Over his career, he has accumulated more than 270 acting credits. In his personal life, Ironside married Karen Dinwiddie in 1986. They have a daughter together, and he also has another daughter from an earlier marriage. As of 2026, Michael Ironside is 76 years old and remains active in acting. His net worth is commonly estimated at around $6 million. 40 years later, Jester may not have had as much screen time as Maverick or Iceman, but Michael Ironside's commanding presence helped make the instructors of Top Gun feel every bit as intimidating as the pilots they were training. Rick Rossovich, whose real name is Frederick Enrico Rossovich, was born on August 28, 1957, in Palo Alto, California. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Rossovich was 28 years old. He played Ron Slider Kerner, Iceman's radar intercept officer, and one of the elite pilots training at Top Gun. Slider is mostly remembered as part of Iceman's team and for his competitive attitude toward Maverick and Goose. He also became instantly recognizable during the famous beach volleyball scene, which helped turn the Top Gun pilots into 1980s pop culture icons. After Top Gun, Rossovich continued working in Hollywood. He appeared in Roxanne, Navy SEALs, and The Terminator, and later joined the television series ER, where he reunited with Anthony Edwards. He also starred as Lieutenant Anthony Palermo in the crime drama Pacific Blue. But unlike Tom Cruise, Rossovich eventually chose to step away from the Hollywood lifestyle. He married Eva Rossovich in 1985, and they have two children, Roy and Isabel. The family spent considerable time in Sweden, Eva's home country, and Rossovich eventually focused more on his family and real estate investments. As of 2026, Rick Rossovich is 68 years old. He has largely retired from acting, although he has occasionally returned for projects. His estimated net worth is around $4 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. Interestingly, Rossovich was asked to return for Top Gun, Maverick, but the material involving him and Tom Skerritt was ultimately cut from the finished film. 40 years later, Slider may not have been the main character, but Rick Rossovich's unmistakable 1980s look and roll beside Iceman made him one of the faces fans still remember from the original Top Gun. Barry Tubb was born on February 13, 1963, in Snyder, Texas. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Tubb was just 23 years old. He played Lieutenant J.G. Leonard Wolfman, Wolf, the radar intercept officer who flies alongside Rick Hollywood Neven. Wolfman isn't one of the film's central characters, but he's part of the group of elite pilots and officers who make up the Top Gun class. He and Hollywood eventually take part in the final combat mission, where their aircraft is shot down before they are rescued. Before Top Gun, Tubb had already begun appearing in television and film. But his biggest post-Top Gun role came in Lonesome Dove, where he played Jasper Fant. He later appeared in projects including The Three Burials of Melquiades Estrada, Friday Night Lights, and American Outlaws. He also moved behind the camera, directing and producing projects including Grand Champion. Tubbs' personal life also had a connection to Top Gun. He and Kelly McGillis dated for about 2 years after meeting while making the film. Interestingly, decades later, Tubb made headlines again. In 2024, he sued Paramount Pictures, claiming that his image from the original Top Gun was used in Top Gun, Maverick without his permission. The image appears in the sequel as part of a photograph of the original Top Gun class. As of 2026, Barry Tubb is 63 years old and has largely stayed away from the Hollywood spotlight. His exact current net worth isn't reliably documented, so it's better not to present an unverified number as fact. 40 years later, Wolfman may have been a supporting character, but Barry Tubbs' connection to Top Gun continued long after the original film ended, including in a surprising legal battle over the movie's sequel. John Stockwell, whose birth name is John Stockwell Samuels IV, was born on March 25, 1961, in Galveston, Texas. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Stockwell was 25 years old. He played Lieutenant Bill Cougar Cortell, one of the Navy pilots and Maverick's former wingman. Cougar's role is actually important to the beginning of Maverick's journey. During the opening sequence, Cougar becomes overwhelmed during a dangerous encounter and struggles to land safely. Afterward, he decides to give up his opportunity at Top Gun, allowing Maverick and Goose to take his place. His decision sets the entire story in motion. Stockwell was already working in Hollywood before Top Gun, appearing in films such as Christine, Lozenit, and My Science Project. But unlike many of his co-stars, he eventually moved away from acting and built a substantial career behind the camera. He went on to direct films, including Blue Crush, Into the Blue, Turistas, Crazy, Beautiful, and Kickboxer, Vengeance. He also directed episodes of television series and worked as a writer and producer. In his personal life, Stockwell is married to Helene Henderson, and they have 3 children. He has largely kept his family life away from the Hollywood spotlight. As of 2026, John Stockwell is 65 years old and continues to be associated with filmmaking, although he has largely stepped away from the spotlight as an actor. His current net worth is not reliably documented, so we shouldn't give an unverified number as fact. 40 years later, Cougar may be remembered as the pilot who stepped away from Top Gun. But John Stockwell's career took its own unexpected flight, eventually moving from in front of the camera to behind it. Tim Robbins was born on October 16, 1958, in West Covina, California. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Robbins was just 27 years old. He played Lieutenant Sam Merlin Wells, the radar intercept officer, who works alongside Maverick during the final part of the movie. Merlin doesn't get nearly as much screen time as Maverick, Goose, or Iceman, but his importance becomes clear during the movie's final combat sequence. After Goose's death, Merlin becomes Maverick's new RIO and flies with him during the dangerous mission. At the time, Robbins was still at the beginning of his career. Top Gun was one of his earliest major film appearances. Just 2 years later, he broke out with Bull Durham, playing baseball pitcher Nuke LaLoosh. From there, his career exploded. He went on to star in The Player, Jacob's Ladder, The Hudsucker Proxy, and, most famously, The Shawshank Redemption, where he played Andy Dufresne. He later won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for Mystic River. Robbins also became a director, making films including Bob Roberts and Dead Man Walking. In his personal life, Robbins had a long relationship with actress Susan Sarandon from 1988 to 2009, and they have 2 sons together. He later married actress Graziella Brancusi in 2017, but they divorced in 2022. As of 2026, Tim Robbins is 67 years old and remains active in acting and filmmaking. His net worth is estimated at around $50 million. So, while Merlin was only a supporting character in Top Gun, the young actor playing him would eventually become an Oscar-winning star and filmmaker, and one of the most recognizable actors to emerge from the original film. Clarence Gilliard Jr. was born on December 24, 1955, in Moses Lake, Washington. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Gilliard was 30 years old. He played Lieutenant Marcus Sundown Williams, a radar intercept officer, who becomes part of Maverick's team after Goose's death. Sundown's role is relatively small, but he becomes part of an important turning point. After Goose's death, Maverick struggles to return to the cockpit, and Sundown briefly becomes one of the people flying with him. Their partnership isn't completely smooth, showing just how much Maverick's grief is affecting his ability to work with others. Interestingly, Top Gun was actually Gilliard's film debut. Just 2 years later, he appeared as the memorable computer expert Theo in Die Hard, alongside Bruce Willis. His biggest television success came afterward. He played Conrad McMasters on Matlock and later became widely known as Jimmy Trevette on Walker, Texas Ranger, appearing alongside Chuck Norris. Gilliard was married twice. His first marriage, to Catherine Dutko, ended in divorce, and they had 2 children. In 2001, he married Elena Castillo, and they had 3 children. He ultimately became a father of 6 children. Later in life, Gilliard stepped away from the Hollywood spotlight and became an associate professor of acting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where he taught until his death. Sadly, Clarence Gilliard Jr. died on November 28, 2022, after a long illness. He was 66 years old. 40 years after Top Gun, Gilliard is remembered not only as Sundown, but also for building a successful second career as an educator, leaving behind a legacy that extended far beyond Hollywood. James Tolkan was born on June 20, 1931, in Calumet, Michigan. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Tolkan was 54 years old. He played Commander Tom Stinger Jardian, the commanding officer responsible for evaluating Maverick and the other pilots at Top Gun. Stinger is one of the people who refuses to be impressed by Maverick's natural talent. He sees the young pilot as reckless and repeatedly warns him that being a great fighter pilot isn't just about having skill. It's about discipline and following orders. His tough attitude makes him one of the most memorable authority figures in the movie. Interestingly, Top Gun wasn't Tolkan's only iconic role from the 1980s. Just 1 year earlier, he had played the strict Mr. Strickland in Back to the Future, a character that became another major part of his legacy. He also appeared in War Games, Dick Tracy, Masters of the Universe, and numerous television productions. In his personal life, Tolkan married Parmalee Wells in 1971 after meeting her while working on an off-Broadway production. They remained married for more than 5 decades, until his death. Sadly, James Tolkan died on March 26, 2026, at his home in Saranac Lake, New York. He was 94 years old. The cause of death was not publicly disclosed. At the time of his death, his estimated net worth was around $3 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. 4 decades after Top Gun, Stinger remains one of the movie's most recognizable authority figures. And James Tolkan's intense performance helped make sure you never forgot the commander, who was constantly telling Maverick to straighten up and fly right. Whip Hubley, whose real name is Grant Shelby Hubley Jr., was born on May 17, 1957, in New York City. When Top Gun was released in 1986, Hubley was 29 years old. He played Lieutenant Rick Hollywood Neven, one of the elite pilots training alongside Maverick, Iceman, Slider, and the rest of the Top Gun class. Hollywood isn't one of the movie's main characters, but he's part of the competitive group Maverick has to overcome. He and Wolfman also participate in the climactic combat mission, giving the audience another glimpse of the pilots who were trained at Top Gun. Interestingly, Hubley later explained that when he first read the Top Gun script, he expected it to be more of an ensemble movie. But once the filmmakers realized what they had with Tom Cruise, the story increasingly centered around Maverick. In his personal life, Hubley married Dinah Minot in 1988. They have 3 children and have remained together for decades. Dinah previously worked as a producer, including at Saturday Night Live. As of 2026, Whip Hubley is 69 years old. His current net worth isn't reliably documented, so it's better not to give a made-up figure.